This is Christine Harrington, the Savvy Sales Lady.
And I'm Simon White from the UK, sales trainer and sales performance coach.
Well, we have a treat for you today, for all of you out there that have been dying to sell to the C-suite. We have an expert with us today, Matt Conway. And Matt, would you just tell the viewers all about you and how did you get into this C-suite selling? I can't even say it, Matt. C-suite selling that you've become an expert in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the introduction, Christine, and Simon. It's a pleasure to meet you. I got into C-suite prospecting and selling by accident, actually. Back in the day when I was still in the UK, Simon, I was working for a sales recruitment company, and was struggling pretty hard. And I'd been bashing away, you know, cold calling and trying to sell sales recruitment to mid-ranking executives. And I've been doing that for about 2 years, and was pretty much at the sort of the end of my rope in regards to results, and I just burnt out and feeling demoralized. And so in a sort of a peak of desperation, I called the only person on the planet who would listen to me, and of course that was my mum. And my mum is Swedish, and she's mad as a bucket of frogs. She really is. But she's also quite wise and a force of nature. And she said to me, after listening to me sort of whinge and whine and about the lack of results I was getting, and she said, "It's very simple, Matt. You're not contacting the people who can say yes. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have got to talk to the most senior decision maker that you can get access to." And she said, you know, just call CEOs, or in the UK it was managing directors. So I wasn't having any results doing what I was doing anyway, and I had nothing to lose. And so it's going back a while now. I'm not going to say how many years ago that was, but this was before email even. And so I, sort of scoured, all the resources that I could find, trying to find books on how to sell to the C-suite or prospect to the C-suite, or any books on selling that would just give me a different angle. And I just started writing letters to, the chairman of the London Stock Exchange, the chairman or CEO, managing director of Vodafone, and what have you. And all of a sudden, I started to get really good results, because these people were coming back. Their executive assistants were calling me back saying, "Yeah, we do want to talk." And I don't know, by luck or judgment, I had stumbled upon how to create really outcome or impact focused messaging, written messaging, to the most senior executive in a company, and they were calling me back without me having to follow up. And moving from the recruitment space, I actually went to the tech space, and this speaks to executive level or C-level selling, is that I'm a bit of a technology laggard. Don't let anybody know that. So I don't really understand technology very well. And in order to avoid having technical conversations, I got really, really good at having business conversations. So, being able to say, disarming things like, before I start bragging about why this technology is the best thing since sliced bread, it would seem to be the best use of your time if you'd be kind enough to, share your challenges and objectives with me. And at the end of our time together, I'll tell you whether I think we've got a fit for you or not. How does that sound? And of course, C-level executives, they just appreciate that level of sort of candor and freshness. And they were saying, well, we're here, we need to go here, and the value of that difference over time is so much. And so that's a sort of longer version of how I got really good at prospecting and selling to C-level executives, Christine. It was probably by mistake.
Well, let me ask you this, since you fell into it. And you took your mom's advice.
Yes.
That's important. Is your strategy now, Matt, do you reach out first with an email and then follow up with a call, or do you first reach out with a call, then follow up with an email? How do you lay this out now?
Yeah, that's a really a good question. And I have made it work for me. And personally, I like to warm up a follow-up call, if I need to, with an email, which kind of sets the reason or or the why am I reaching out to them now? What makes it timely and relevant to them right now? So that if I do have to follow it up with a, a phone call to see if they got my my email or my letter, on the odd occasion I still send letters, is that there'll be
That's
some sort of,
interesting. Wait a minute.
yes.
That's interesting.
Okay,
because nobody talks about that now.
Okay, so let me come back to that. Let me answer
Okay.
your original question first, and then we'll come back to that, because it's an excellent point, Christine. So that's my process. And you probably saw a little bit of a smirk on my face saying if I have to follow up with a phone call, because most of the time, if I send between 1 and 3, one initial email and a second or third follow up, 80% of the time I will get your timing is good, Matt, let's talk, or thanks for reaching out, Matt, I'd like to introduce you to this person, whatever, without me actually having to even pick up the phone. So that's just a little glimpse into the power of the outcome focused messaging and what it can do, and B, a little bit of the laziness of Matt Conway. But usually if I haven't heard by three times, I've either got their motives or their imperatives wrong, or I've been spam filtered, and in which case then I absolutely pick up the phone to follow up. That's not to say that calling first and leaving a voice message or getting on the phone straight away is the wrong way to do it either, because as a wise man once told me, there are many ways to the truth, and you've got to sort of wear the one that fits you the best and that works for you. I got really good at writing because I wasn't particularly brilliant at cold calling, and I don't teach cold calling today because guess what? They're better people at it than me. But for those people who are, feel that they're confident and comfortable writing, they can get dramatic results, doing a 1 to 3 email sequence with a phone follow-up call, which makes it a warm call. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, going back to your point about the letters, that and why that's interesting. How many emails do you get per day?
Yeah, hundreds.
Okay. How many letters do you get per day that are handwritten with blue ink to you?
Zero.
All right. So which one do you think is going to get your attention?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
the letter.
the letter. So what you don't get in speed and convenience, a la email, you get differentiation and curiosity piquing factor. Sorry, that's a terrible sentence, but it's physical lumpy mail. Now, when I was a younger man trying to figure out how to prospect to the C-suite and how to prospect to senior decision makers, I studied under some of the best direct response copywriters, people like Drayton Bird and
Oh yes,
and Kennedy. Drayton, do yeah?
Drayton Bird. I've got a signed book of Drayton Bird somewhere.
I think I've got a couple of them. So no, in fact, Drayton, I was a client of his for a time as well. So I studied under some of these great direct response copywriters. Drayton Bird was one of David Ogilvy's acolytes back in the day. So that
you actually, Matt, clued me in on Drayton Bird.
Oh, did I?
Yes, yeah. Yes. You told me to follow him, and I'm going to tell you to follow Matt.
Thank you. So writing a letter, it's slower, but the impact is so much greater because it's unusual. People don't, whether it's letter or whether you send a package or something. I use what the direct response marketers called lumpy mail. It's physical, it's kinesthetic, right? And so it gets people's interest. So it can. One of my clients was a salesperson at an analytics software company, and I did an engagement with this company to help them revamp their go-to-market strategy and their messaging. And at first they were going to send out emails, but Joe's the name of the top salesperson there. He decided he wasn't going to send emails. He was just going to take the time to write really personalized, letters. So the top of the letter is different depending on the trigger event that's being leveraged, or some sort of research that Joe had done. But the body for every letter was pretty much the same, because it was basically sharing the outcomes that others like the recipient were getting, and would it make sense to talk. And Joe by himself, I think he was $26 million of sales pipeline in a 6-month period.
Wow.
Not bad, eh?
Well, I've got a lot of questions now.
Go, fire away.
I'm literally writing all these questions out. I'm thinking, wow, there's some good stuff here. Going back to one of the things you said earlier on about you send an email, you don't get a response, you might send a second email, maybe even as much as a third email. Is it the same email each time, or are there slightly different? Is it maybe the subject line different, or are you just sending the same one, right? They didn't get it, maybe it got spammed out, maybe they didn't see it, I'm going to send it again. What's your approach?
Yeah. So another wise person once told me, no answer doesn't mean not interested. Okay. And I think if various places have researched, how many salespeople actually ever follow up their first email. And I think it's something like 54% of people only send out an email and never follow it up. Now, 74% of statistics are made up. So who knows whether that's true or not, right? And yet, if that is the case, to take the time and energy and effort to write, and again, I'm not talking about mass blast marketing emails. I'm talking about salespeople who've done their research, who know the value that they can create, and they're doing a very specific targeted outreach. There is gold in the follow-up, and oftentimes it doesn't take more than 2 or 3 follow-up emails to get them to go, yeah, actually I do want to talk. The emails, Simon, the first email is your sort of, let's call it the introductory email, where you essentially lay out your value proposition. And of course, the most compelling value propositions, those on steroids, aren't you telling the client how wonderful you are. You've probably heard, you're not the hero, you're the guide. The client's the hero. You should be Obi-Wan Kenobi to their Luke Skywalker, helping them on their journey. And to speak, it's the equivalent of me, I'm Matt Conway, I'm 6'1", blue eyes, devilishly handsome. It's not really that impressive. And yet if Christine says, Matt Conway, 6'1", blue eyed, devilishly handsome, people go, oh, okay, and I might listen to that. So using third-party proof, for example, to say that, other clients in your sector or others in your sector who were challenged with this would tell you that they got these kind of outcomes when they chose to work with me or work with us, or however you want to language it. So using third-party social proof to really put your message on steroids. The second email can so for example, if I'm sending that to a CEO and I don't get a response, the second email probably has a second stab at articulating the value proposition and why it makes sense for them to talk and why timing is right. Yeah. And the third email to the CEO is I typically ask for a referral on that third one. If they haven't bitten on the first 2, pretty well thought out value propositions, what I'm offering isn't strategic enough in their mind, and they think I've got peeps for that. So I make it easy for them, an easy out, by asking, or would you be kind enough to refer me to Joe Bloggs or Sarah Smith or whoever the line of business executive who I'd end up really doing business with anyway, if I'm selling a service or a product that actually isn't of strategic value but has functional value. So no, all 3 emails are different, but I'm always referencing the emails below. So in the sequence, my third email asking for the referral will have the second email I sent to them below, and then my original one below that. So I could say, I could reference, further to my recent notes below, and then I make the request for the referral.
Really, I love that. I love that journey. So another question from me, how important is the subject line, and what secrets of a good subject line can you share with our viewers?
I have got to tell you a story if you don't mind. So subject lines are something that a lot of salespeople get their knickers in a knot or Nancy over, and it's just it's not worth doing, you know. And here's what: the more time and energy and effort that you put into it, the more marketing schmarketing you sound. You know, Simon, dramatically accelerate your time to revenue and blah blah blah. You know, you can just smell that over miles off. It's a sales email, right?
Yeah.
Delete. All right. So in my coaching and training that I do, I say, you know, Simon, where did you get, you know, why were you called Simon as a matter of interest? Is there a story behind that?
So you asked me that
I'm
actual
asking you
question.
now. Yeah. Why are you called
I
Simon?
have no idea why I'm called
Okay,
Simon.
you haven't got a fabulous uncle called Simon or something like that you know
No,
about.
no, I'm
All right.
afraid not. No.
Okay, so unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a boring story, but
Oh, sorry.
it's all
I
right.
think they were going to call me Richard, and then Mum didn't
Fair,
want to be called Richard, so they called me Simon instead.
well, fair enough. Well,
Now,
thank you for making.
Matt, I got to tell you, my followers that are females in the United States, they are in love with Simon.
Of course they are.
They think he's the next James Bond.
And I told my wife that, and she laughed.
The truth.
I worked in Texas for a time, and every time I heard the phrase, "Oh my God, I just love your accent,"
Yeah.
it was a good time. It was a very good time. Simon, you might close your ears. Christine, it's the accent's the only thing we've got.
It is.
So the reason I asked you about how you got your name Simon is, you know, you might think your name is wonderful and you've been named after your great aunt Peggy or what have you. Your name is actually a societal construct designed to get attention. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you shout in the middle of it, when I do keynotes, for example, when I did keynotes, when you shout, "Hey, you," into the crowd and everybody looks at you, it's not very good at getting one person's attention. So I always recommend use a person's first name in the subject line. You know, Simon, good morning.
Yeah.
Societal construct designed to get attention. Pleasantry.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
80%
really...
open rate. Simon, good morning. And I like to put an ellipsis, ... at the end of it. Simon,
Yeah.
good morning, ... because
Yeah.
it piques curiosity and gets the open. So it can be literally, I'm kidding not, 80% open rates on Simon, good morning. That's all it takes.
Fantastic. I've got to be honest, I've never tried that approach ever. I've done everything else. That's the one I never did.
You know, I always put their name in the subject line. That's something that I've always done too, Matt, only because it personalizes it more, and they think they're thinking, well, how do I know this person that knows me?
And Dale Carnegie, you know, How to Win Friends and Influence People. What's this quote? I'm going to butcher this quote, so forgive me. You know, the sweetest sound to any person is the sound of their own name, or something along those lines. Use it. Absolutely use it. I did a campaign or an engagement several years ago with a major credit card company, I was working with their merchant financing business. And at the end of the engagement, I think they got a $2.6 million lift in sales, not pipeline, in sales in a 60-day period after changing their message and just going a bit higher. And so I had a debrief with the team, and their top salesperson was a chap called Kevin, and I was going sort of around the room saying, "So, you know, Simon, what did you get out of this? What was the most valuable thing for you?" And then I talked to Kevin, and he said, "Matt, the most value from this whole engagement has been putting the person's first name in the subject line." And I went, "You're kidding me." You know, I said, "What about, you know, 180 your message so it's not focused on who you are and what you do, aka, you know, drill bits versus holes."
Yeah.
Millions of people buy drill bits who don't want drill bits, they want holes. So 180 their messaging so it was customer outcome focused, weaving in you know, neuro-linguistic hypnotic language like, "Should you choose to take my call?" You know, hypnosis in there, all the linguistics and the elements to make, you know, tremendous response rate. Went, "Yeah, that's okay," but putting their name in the subject line, yeah. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." But that's what worked for him.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. Love it. Yeah. And in terms of when you send lumpy mail to the managing director, the CEO, or whoever? Is it a one-pager? Do you advocate? I know Drayton Bird in Common Sense Direct Marketing, obviously that was quite some time ago, certainly the version I had, he would always advocate, I think, a two-pager outsold a one-pager, but I don't know if that would be the case now, but what's your take on that?
So Drayton and I are going to disagree on this one. I think you could probably, I get a lot of pushback when I'm doing copywriting engagements from my clients. When I'll either teach salespeople how to do them, or sometimes I will actually write the copy for the salespeople and teach and coach the salespeople how to execute the process. And I've had pushback on my email. Some of my emails are longer than they'd write, and longer than all the so-called gurus on YouTube or on LinkedIn or whatever, saying it's got to be L-shaped and it's got to be 4 lines and whatever. I've written pretty much A4 length emails that are getting, I'll talk to you, your timing's great, thanks very much. So as long as the content's good and the value proposition is outcome focused, it answers what's in it for me. Yeah. And here's the problem: most salespeople's prospecting messages are all around their product, solution, or service. Yeah, they're messaging drill bits, not holds. So it can be longer. And at the end of the day, most executives are going to be reading it on this for the first time. So I think having a 2-page, direct response copy letter, I would probably err on shorter if you can. And here's what I do know: as salespeople get more and more, because the biggest challenge with prospecting is weak value propositions. Most salespeople don't even believe the value that they can create for another human being, and therefore they don't articulate, their outcomes well. And what I find over time is that even if somebody starts with a sort of a long message, as they get more and more positive responses and they get more confident, they'll just start cutting stuff out until their message shortens up. Was it Einstein says, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know the topic well enough? Yeah. To that effect. So as salespeople get more and more congruent, because first sale is always to yourself. You've got to believe the value you can create. You can get to the value a lot quicker. So I would probably keep it to a page of A4 or under, Simon.
Excellent.
Sorry, Drayton.
One more question before I let Christine. Let's say you are doing that follow-up call or that cold call, how important is that chief executive PA in the mix? Yeah. Are you expecting to have a conversation with them first? What's the strategy with them? How would you go about it?
Okay, I'd like to answer that question in 2 parts, if I may. Now, if you are calling from a market leader or a major, let's say a market leading technology firm with household brand awareness, or a major consulting firm that is focused on strategy, if you are reaching out to a big company, large enterprise CEO, it's highly unlikely that they're going to take a sales call. All right. And now, don't get me wrong. So several years ago, when I was working at a major sales training company called Franklin Covey, I sold a rather large sales training engagement to Salesforce.com by prospecting to Mark Benioff. Now, being very clear in mind, I knew he wouldn't have a call with me because sales training's not a strategic imperative; it's a tactical imperative in a CEO's mind. Right. So in that case, I was looking for the referral. And so I sent an email, and 2 hours later, an executive vice president called me back. So 1 email, no follow-up. Bonza, big sales training deal. So it's about, you've got to get clear on what your end in mind is. If it's a Fortune 100 CEO, it's unlikely they're going to have a sales call with you. So your end in mind should be to get the executive referral. And the reason why that makes sense is because when a CEO of a big company says to somebody, hey, this was interesting, take a look at it. Yeah. Do you think they're going to take a look at it and get on a call with you? Absolutely. And yet, if you were to reach out to them directly, you're just another salesperson who wants their attention. So you've created an internal referral or trigger event. Yeah. Now, if you're prospecting to a small to mid-size company, getting a meeting with the CEO, you should absolutely have that as your as your end in mind. Going to your point about the executive assistant, the most important thing that I found in terms of executing that approach effectively and getting a positive outcome for you as the salesperson and for the client, I view sales through the lens of my job as a salesperson is to ideally dramatically improve that customer's business and personal condition. If you ask most salespeople, what's the purpose of sales? They'll have never thought of it before. It's just not something that people do. And yet without that paradigm or belief of what selling is, salespeople get lumpy results or spiky results because they don't believe in what they do and they feel they're being pushy and what have you. So mindset and the sort of definition of sales is really important. One of the things that I often get is, Matt, so how do you get around gatekeepers? Okay, so language is powerful. I'm a certified neuro-linguistic programming coach, for example. Language is powerful because it's a direct interpretation of what's going on in somebody's head. Yeah, your thought. Be careful of your thoughts because they become your words, become your habits, etc. When a salesperson views an EA as a gatekeeper, how do you think that EA is going to behave? Yeah, you get what you focus on. So if you think, I've got to pick up the phone, I'm going to talk to the gatekeeper, you're going to be pushy, you're going to be aggressive, you may be rude. And guess how they respond? Click, right? Now, when I coach salespeople to do this, I say the EA, or the executive assistant, the PA, is the second most powerful person in that company. Yeah, they are your greatest ally. Replace the word gatekeeper with ally. Because when you reframe how you see them, they know exactly who's got budgets, where they're being spent, who snogged who at the company, Christmas, dance and what have. They know exactly what's going on, and they know what's going on in the mind of the managing director or the CEO or the president of the company. They are a huge strategic ally to you. And if you can be civil and approach them and just say, if you're the EA, Simon, can I ask for your help, please? Yeah. The word help is such a powerful word. But you're saying, as an ally, please, can I ask for your help? Magic happens. Yeah. I recently sent a letter to Christine, and I'm ringing to see, how did Christine receive it? Oh, she did. What did she think? And a conversation begins. Yeah. But that paradigm of gatekeeper versus ally, for me, I think is the number one sabotaging factor in following up written communication. Yeah. You've got to get that right. Yeah. Did I answer your question, Simon?
Brilliant. Absolutely. Spot on. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I feel like I've monopolized all your time. Christine, over to you.
No, you asked questions I was going to ask, Simon, so I'm glad. Matt, one of the things that I know you're working on is you have a platform that you're going to be rolling out on how to contact C-suite and how to sell in the C-suite, correct? So I'd like for you to tell everyone, first of all, how to follow you, how you can help them, and about this new program that you're building.
Well, thank you, Christine. So the program is actually live right now, and you can get access to the program on beyondsalesperformance.com. This is a joint venture initiative with my son, William, who's at Queen's University studying aerospace engineering. He is basically the systems and the process guy. He's using me because I've got some gray hairs in my beard and my expertise in the sales performance space, and he's using me to launch his own business, which is this online community where my content's been uploaded. So if you go to Beyond Sales Performance, oh, Simon, you're gonna like this. So we're following the sort of direct response copy model because it's a B2C offering. It's not me selling my coaching consulting to businesses. It's for consumers, and of course the product starts at $7, which is breaking my heart. You know, this is my life's work, and you can get it for $7. Oh, so get it now before I raise the prices, folks. It's because it's breaking my heart. But the program's designed, so it's called the $141 million prospecting kit. And in the last sort of 5 years, I've worked with a bunch of companies, and after doing some back of the napkin calculations, that's the value that has been created, $141 million from these companies that I've worked with, whose salespeople elevated their ability to prospect more effectively to who they were reaching out to currently, but B, because there's two jobs. First of all, the biggest challenge is most salespeople aren't able to get enough meetings with the people that they're currently trying to get hold of. Once they get good at that, job number two is then they can elevate and go higher in the organization so that they accelerate their sales cycles, because they're talking to decision makers, not influencers. So this program is it's got 7 example emails that were all one and done. Yeah, these 7 emails, one email was sent out, appointment booked, without having to follow it up. And I believe one of the emails there was one that got a CEO level email in 38 seconds from one of my clients. The CEO responded 38 seconds later and said, yeah, I'll talk to you, or introduce you to a member of the team. So there's 7 exact emails that worked. And the plus is, I talk through them and show salespeople how to construct prospecting copy, whether that's an email or whether it's in letter format. Because here's the thing, nobody teaches salespeople how to write these things.
Right.
Exactly,
and, Matt. That is so true.
Nobody does.
I have said, back in when did emails, I'm dating myself. Heck, everybody knows how old I am. I'm older than dirt. But I grew up when email first started, and you would just pound out something and send it out, and now, salespeople need that writing skills that you have developed really for them, haven't you, on this platform?
Absolutely. And I feel almost panicked, or my blood boils. My emotions go up and down on this. It's just, here's the thing, sales, and this is a sales leader issue actually, because sales leader will hire people and then just sort of go, all right, there's your target list, away you go. And people have to make it up as they go along. And sales leaders somehow sort of magically think that they're going to pick it up by osmosis. Well, no other sort of profession would countenance that degree of inefficiency. And so it takes salespeople quite a while to turn around all the product marketing speak that they've got as part of their ramp up program and go, okay, so we do this, we do that, we don't we on clients, they hate it, right? It's horrible. So what does that mean to the customer? And that means, and so what? And the value of that is, and they have to basically, I call it 180. You've got a 180, your value proposition. So it's customer focused versus you focused. And yet, sales organizations, that they run by default on pushing out products and service, you focused stuff versus the customer focused stuff. And it's a crime. And I personally, I think a lot of salespeople live lives of drudgery and monotony and mindless follow-up. But actually, it's because their leaders don't actually know any better.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So the 141 million prospecting kit is designed for salespeople who just want to dramatically improve the results that they're getting now, prospecting to who they're comfortable prospecting to at the moment, because I recognize that not everybody is comfortable at prospecting to the CEO or a managing director. And trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. All right. And so just start getting some results, prospecting to who you're prospecting to today, but not hearing back. I mean, the amount of coaching conversations that I'm having with people going, I've sent out dozens or, 50, 60 emails and heard crickets. Well, that's a value proposition that's broken. The messaging is just not resonating. So you've got to fix that. But once you do get that fixed and you start to get the replies and people start saying, oh, your timing is excellent. I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you for your, well-researched email. All of a sudden your confidence starts to build and you think, well, why don't I start prospecting to, directly to the people who can say yes or no very quickly. Now, I'd rather have a fast no any day than a sort of drawn out sales cycle. So that's okay. So so my son William's built this fantastic product. I'm so proud of him. And you can get it for $7.
Matt, is this a membership site or is this is it a membership site where it's $7 a month, or you buy the package for $7? What exactly?
Thank you. That's a great clarification. It's a bit of everything actually. You can buy the process. There's a picture of yours truly there. You can buy the kit for this was version 1, the C-level swipe file. You can buy that for $7 and you're away to the races. There's your 7 example emails. Plus I break them down why each of those emails has worked, and here's how to build your own email. And $7, you can start with that. For those of you who want personal coaching, I'm running a mastermind, and so there's like all the direct response. There's an upsell and a cross-sell and upsell. There's so many ups and down sells I can't even keep track anymore. But there is a mastermind group that you can join every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the purpose of that mastermind is 2 things. One is to help salespeople get just ultra clarity around their value proposition, review their prospecting emails, whether they're to the CEO or to a VP of marketing or a VP of sales or a VP of IT. I'll personally review those. And then the second component is those who are saying, hey, I sent my proposal over and I'm hearing crickets. So I'll help do deal coaching as well, because one of the most fun things to do is getting deals unstuck.
Yeah.
Those are not going anywhere, and what are some counterintuitive and uncommon ideas to help unstick deals even. So thank you for asking the question, Christine.
I'm going to put it in my newsletter, Matt. I'm sure you won't mind, right?
No, I won't. Thank you.
Simon, do you have any questions?
No more questions, actually, but it's absolute pleasure meeting you, Matt, and thank you for sharing all that with us. So it's really interesting.
Thank you for listening.
Oh,
you got such a wonderful accent, Simon.
I'm the odd man out here.
Well, you sound so charming to us, Christine, of course.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Blush, blush. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today and for your expertise and, just sharing with our viewers everything to know about tips for C-suite selling. I want to highly recommend that you go to Matt's website. Say it again, Matt.
beyondsalesperformance.com.
And I'll have it somewhere in the video so you can see it. But remember this. Sales is a journey, not a quick trip around the block. Simon and I will see you on the next training video. Bye-bye.
Thank you.